Alright, let's settle this once and for all. Should you be using the LOC method or the LCO method? Because while the internet keeps saying, do what works for you, what if what works best actually changes with the seasons? Let me break it all the way down for you, girl. Come on over here. Now, I've been hinting at doing this video for some time, and today we are finally diving into the topic of when to use the LOC method versus the LCO method in your moisturizing routine. So, in previous videos, I mentioned that you should use the LOC method during the winter months and the LCO method during the summer months. And I know you're probably wondering why. Why is that? Isn't it just about using whichever works best for your hair type? Well, actually, each method becomes more effective during specific seasons, especially when we're talking about maximizing moisture retention. So with that said, let's get right into it. Okay, if you've ever wondered why your winter routine leaves your hair greasy in the summer, or why your summer routine leaves your hair dry in the winter, this video will explain why. So before we get into why each method is ideal in a particular season, let's first break down what the acronym LOC or LCO stands for and the focus behind each technique. Now, the letters represent the order of application. So the L stands for liquid or leave-in, the O is for oil, and the C is for cream. And both methods are designed to moisturize and seal moisture into afro, textured, and curly hair. But the order in which you apply your products affects how well moisture is retained and how your hair looks and feels afterward. So let's break down the difference. Okay, so when it comes to the LOC method, the liquid or leave-in hydrates the hair by adding water-based moisture. The oil seals in the hydration from the leave-in or the liquid, and the cream locks everything in by creating an additional barrier to prevent moisture loss. So with that, the primary focus of the LOC method is sealing in moisture as soon as it's added, and by using the oil first and then the cream for added protection. Now, for the LCO method, the leave-in or the liquid still hydrates first, but the cream comes next, adding more moisture and improving manageability. Now, creams are able to do this because many have water listed as the first ingredient, so they hydrate and soften the hair. So with this being the second step, it introduces more moisture into the hair strands, especially if the leave-in, why do I feel like I'm not talking right today? Especially if the leave-in is lightweight or it was applied sparingly, and as we know, if you have fine hair strands or low hair density, you are supposed to apply products sparingly. And finally, the oil seals in the moisture from both the leave-in and the cream. So with the LCO method, this prioritizes layering in more hydration before sealing it in, which makes it excellent for dry hair strands that crave moisture. Are you still wondering which one is better? Well, let's bring porosity into the conversation, because this will shift your entire moisture game. Now, since we've been talking about porosity a lot, it's worth noting that even though these methods can be season specific, your hair's porosity might override the seasons altogether, especially if you have high porosity hair. Now, if you have high porosity hair, your best bet is the LCO method regardless of the time of year, simply because this method prioritizes Simply because this method prioritizes hydration, and as we know, high porosity hair loses moisture much quicker, whether due to it being damaged or naturally having fewer cuticle layers. So it requires hydration first, then a cream to replenish moisture, and then the oil to seal it all in. Okay? Alright, so let's play a game, right? Before I tell you which method works best in the summer versus the winter, pause this video and comment below which one you think goes with which season based off the explanation, okay? Alright, so now that we've unpacked the purpose of both methods, let's break down why the LCO method is better for summer and the LOC method is more beneficial during winter. So with that, let's start with the summer months. Summer, summer, summertime. Summertime. Now, during the summer months, the weather is warm and humid, meaning your hair is less likely to dry out from the environment itself. But sun exposure and heat can still cause dehydration. So your priority becomes layering in hydration without weighing the hair down. And this is where the LCO method shines, because this method prioritizes hydration. So the LCO method works best during the summer because it allows for maximum hydration, as once again, the cream adds extra moisture after the leave-in, which is then sealed in with a small amount of oil, preferably a lightweight oil, without suffocating the hair. Also, using the LCO method during the warmer months is better for the hair, as your hair feels light, breathable, and defined. And yes, curl definition is usually better with this method, so it's ideal for wash and go styles, which is usually popular during the summer. I really need to talk better. I don't know what's going on today. But anyway, you want to be careful because overdoing wash and goes without balancing moisture can lead to high growth fatigue. And if you haven't seen my videos on wash and goes or moisture overload, check the cards above or the description bar below. Now, in the winter months, the environmental conditions also affect the hair's moisture balance. As the air is drier, the conditions are much harsher, both outdoors and indoors. So unlike the summer months where there is high humidity, meaning a lot more moisture in the air, the low humidity, cold air, and the artificial heating during winter all pull moisture out of your hair strands much faster. So think of it like the environment is acting like a vacuum. And again, because there is no moisture in the atmosphere for your hair to draw from to potentially replenish any moisture loss, this is the reason why the weather during the winter months are considered to be more harsh and dry. Therefore, sealing in moisture immediately is important. So your focus needs to shift from adding hydration to locking in hydration, and this is where the LOC method becomes essential, because this method prioritizes moisture retention. So the leave-in adds hydration, the oil seals it in quickly, acting like a barrier, and the cream reinforces what was sealed in and adds another layer of protection. So the LOC method is ideal in winter because it protects your hair strands from moisture loss, it provides deeper moisture retention, and it prevents split ends and keeps your hair soft in these harsh conditions. Let me know if you're understanding what I'm saying or if it's going over your head. But anyway, this is also why using heavier butters, oils, and creams are perfect here, because they provide extra reinforcement, especially for protecting the cuticle and reducing brittleness. And once again, this is where the Hair We Gro Butters come in. So, does it really matter which method you use, or is it all just hype? Well, it does actually matter, because once again, once we understand how the climate impacts our hair, we can better tailor our routine to serve our hair during that particular time. So it's not that one method is always better across the board. It's more so about how each method performs in a specific environment to optimize moisture retention, especially when it comes to our hair type. When it comes to Afro textured hair, this generally has the lowest cuticle count of all three hair types. So moisture balance and retention is everything in achieving our hair goals, especially if you're after length retention. So technically, yes, it does matter, but not in a rigid or strict way, because in the summer the LCO method offers hydration with lightness, which is perfect for hot, humid conditions. Just be mindful not to overhydrate. And in the winter, the LOC method provides deep sealing for maximum protection from dryness. So the real key is adapting your method to your environment, your porosity, your hair texture, and even your product choices. However, when talking about hair texture, you might want to customize which method to use. So if you have thicker or coarse hair, the LOC method might work better for you because it offers a stronger moisture barrier. And if your hair is finer, the LCO method prevents heaviness while still locking in hydration, as this method is considered the lighter moisturizing technique of the two. So again, it's about understanding your hair and choosing intentionally. So even though, you know, they say do what works best for you, depending on what you're trying to achieve, then you can consider the LOC method or the LCO method, especially during each season, because it does actually matter. Now, let's talk about where our Hair We Gro Butters fit into this moisturizing technique, because you know we have to plug the Hair We Gro Butters. Now, if you think you know, then go ahead and drop in the comments below before we reveal it, because you might be surprised. All right, so is the Hair We Gro Butter a cream or an oil step? Answer. It's best used as the O or the oil step in both LOC or LCO method because it is a sealant. So here's why. So even though our butters are whipped and it feels light, it's made from rich oils and butters like shea butter, cocoa butter, and castor oil, which are all moisture sealants and not hydrators. So it doesn't contain water or hydrosols, so it's not a cream. It's occlusive, meaning it traps moisture in. So when using our butters in the LCO method, you want to first add your leave-in or your liquid for hydration, then a cream such as a light moisturizer or curl cream, which this step is optional, so you can skip it altogether if your hair doesn't need extra cream or moisture. And then following that, you will add the Hair We Gro Butter to seal everything in. And of course, in the LOC method, you want to go ahead and add your leave-in or your liquid, then the Hair We Gro Butter as the oil step, and finally a styling cream, which is also optional depending on the style you're going for. So while it feels luxurious and lightweight, our butter is a rich, creamy sealant that locks in moisture and protects your hair strands. Now, as we wrap this all up, remember this, right? Your moisturizing routine should reflect your climate, your hair porosity, and your hair's texture. So adjusting between the LCO and the LOC method based on the season will help your hair to be moisturized, healthy, and resilient all year round. But don't be afraid to experiment. You want to go ahead and try both methods and see which one gives you the results you want, whether that's length retention, better moisture retention, or curl definition. Now, if you learned something new today, go ahead and drop a comment below and let me know, are you team LOC or team LCO? Or maybe you switch it up like me depending on the season. Let's talk about it, girls.